The second of the two realistic 1001 3.5 watt handhelds. First thing, check the telescopic aerial. A bit loose, but it's there we go, that's fine. Now, why is it missing its strap off the back? And the last one of these, do you remember it was missing the screen plate from inside, which was a bit more concerning. So this has had a lot of use. As a courtesy, just going to clean the contacts. We do not test these on batteries. Remember, we're trade supplier, and although we do help the other end users, it's 1982 one. I'm not starting to stuff 8 batteries in there or 10 rechargeables, etc., etc. That's not what we do. So it's lost all its dust cap switches. They go stiff and brittle, but sometimes they don't. It's just bizarre. I'm just wondering if that scrap American one we've got has got the strappy thing on the back. Look, it's different arrangement. Would be, wouldn't it? What a shame. But I will have a look in my storage shed just in case there's something which we can liberate. Oh, I haven't got the set working yet. So, not many handhelds you can plug an external mic into, and we've had the best range of any handheld on any with these. The 1005, which is the liquid crystal version, same chassis, but it was an LCD display on instead of the LED display, and you actually find those sets are more problematic. The LCD can end up with dry joints, so there's no advantage. The very early version of this doesn't transmit as well as the later version, and is identifiable when we open this up because the early version doesn't have a power preset, whereas this one does. Hopefully this one does. These aren't the original screws. The original screws are countersunk in this position. Black countersunk screws. And then we've got one in the back, which is original. It's quite a long one. So whip the front off with care. And it's got the power preset just there, so that's the later type. Now that's got the screening can, so that's great. That's fantastic. It's missing its rubber shroud around there, which really doesn't matter, but it nevertheless is missing the rubber shroud. So they can suffer from dry joints between the two sides of the printed circuit. For example, I'll just change glasses if I can find them on here. Yeah, that is a potential dry joint between the two sides of the board. Then usually, normally on this side, if you take the screen plate off the back, which is a lot of trouble, they're usually alright on that side. It's this side which is the problematic thing. I suppose they're hand done on this side, whereas on the other side it's flow soldered with the machine. So I don't know why this happened, but that's really the only complaint I've got. It's a great set, so otherwise. Made by GRE for Tandies, General Research Electronics. But they made a lot of scanners, didn't they? Yes, Mr. Tango, they did. Right. Have we got the MX259 adapter, which is a Motorola plug to SO239. I've said before that fits older type car radios, but it looks like phono as well, so it's longer. So I'll get that. In fact, at the moment we're on the other test set, so I'll tell you what, I'll see if we can just do deviation. If this radio works, we do the deviation and get it out of my hair. We can never get a proper connection because unless we started dismantling the set, taking the rod antenna out, it's always not going to kind of read on the instruments the truth. But we know what the truth is. So if I say we don't get more than 1.2 microvolts, which is probably actually 0.5, and if we usually get the power output, it's usually on receive where it shows it to be inferior to what it is. So it's a very lossy type of connector, especially by the time we put it through an adapter. So I will find a power lead. We do have one on here because I did one the other day, which I borrowed. Now I can't remember whether these are positive centre. Yes, it is. These radios are positive centre. This lead is positive centre, so we're heading in the right direction. This is a new thing I've borrowed out of stock, so I'll just try not to make it look used. Could offer it as pre-tested. Right, switch on. Channel 20. So the display extinguishes after 2 seconds. The black button on the PTT brings the display back for 2 seconds. It's to save power. I won't unsolder the speaker at this point. We'll wait until we see whether it needs to come off or not. If we'd sent it with an external mic, we'd test it with the external mic, but there's no need to do that when it's like this. So I need to somehow, just first of all, make sure it is transmitting using my handheld to talk to. Yep, 1 2 1 2. Yep, it's certainly transmitting audio. So now the deviation control is the only preset other than the power, and it looks to be set to full, which you often need to have. They've got funny AGC. AGC is automatic gain control, for those of you who don't know. And you tend to find that when you initially talk, hello, the first syllable will actually very slightly over deviate. You've got about 1/10 of a second of over deviation before it settles down. So it's kind of, Binatone Route 66 is a similar kind of audio sound. So I'm just going to somehow manage to read a meter a few feet away. See whether I can pick the whole thing up. Wallow, he's spot on. That's not normally a test we do first. One of the reasons we don't fix microphones is we can't get replacement microphone leads in quantity. You know, I can get them retail from the odd shop, and they might have 2 or something like that, but I can't buy 50. The supplies have dried up. The only one I can get is 3 meters long, so it's silly. So the 1.8 standard one, 1.8 meter standard one, the supplies have dried up some time ago. And some of the new microphones you get they're not even screened on the curly lead, which is really disappointing because you're really going to introduce hum. So, you know, people could send microphones in, and then what would happen is you say, well, the mic lead's knackered, and there's nothing you can do about it. So that's one of the reasons we don't do microphone repairs. And the other thing is, what should I be charging? How much an hour do you think I should be charging? And some of these microphone repairs, believe it or not, you can spend an hour and a half on. So it's cheaper to buy another mic for $16.50 or whatever they cost. Probably about the 19th. No idea what the date is. That's probably tomorrow. Let's put 18th for a laugh. September 2023. Realistic TRC1001, and it is 448831. 448831. Deviation 2.2 to 2.5 kilohertz. 2.2 to 2.5 kilohertz. That's one thing done. Right, let's look at transmit power. So now we'll go with picture in picture, and let's have a look. We're on the 3 watt scale. Remember, these are 3.5 watt radio, so it should bang across to there. Well, it doesn't. It's doing 1.75. And remember, these are 12 volt radio, they're not 13.8. You will kill the audio IC with 13.8. And that's not been obtainable for a very long time. And it's a shame when these were £120 in 1981 to kill them for a silly reason. It's spot on frequency. Let's go to the frequency counter so you can see that. 2779115. Test set's still warming up. It's going to go up higher than that, so I'm not needing to touch that. We don't need to take the screen plate off. We don't need to adjust the trimmer capacitor. So and so we don't need to charge him for doing that. So let's have a look on different tiers of what we do. So it's already gone up to 116. Let's look at channel 40. And it's doing 1.8 watts. And on channel 1 it's doing 1.55 watts. Low power, let's go back to channel 20. It should be 400 milliwatts, but it's preset on these, so there's nothing you can do about it. It's 90 milliwatts. And the transmit current in high power is currently 770 milliamps. It gives me the impression it's a bit off tune because I don't think they're even 900 and something, even when they're giving 3.5 watts out. So let's turn our attention to receive. And where are we? Just make sure we're on channel 20. And we'll just put that up on the signal generator. There we go. Go over to Synod meter. Better turn the squelch down. That's volume. I'm going to hold on to the range boost side panels to get a true reading. Oh, I've not got the... I'm wondering why my meter's blank. I haven't got the thing plugged into the external speaker socket on the top. What a wally. So at the moment we've got 1.8 with 10 dB, 1.4, and for 20 it is 5.9. So as I say, these aren't what it's really doing. This is what all we can read because of the aerial arrangement. Look at the difference if I let go of the range boost side panels. The body becomes part of the earth, so it's quite important. Squelch, bearing in mind it's a handheld, that's full squelch. What is it? It is 27 microvolts. That won't change. And threshold, set threshold, switch signal generator back on. .6 microvolts. Anything worse than 2.4 is not going to work out well around Scratchy Corner. That might improve, but of course this is all down to this aerial arrangement anyway. So the RF meter, it doesn't have an RF meter, so it's not applicable. It's a battery meter in transmit, and it doesn't have an S meter, and neither does the LCD version. So don't think you're getting an upgrade to an LCD with the 1005, because you're not. Oh, that ticks a few boxes. Right, let's go to the transmitter. So I did one a couple of weeks ago, 10 days ago, so I have still got it in my mind to some extent. I'll just make sure that that preset actually moves. Now we end up having to use different tools to most sets. Is it the blue one? Yeah, the blue one does fit when the white paint's been eased off. They've never been moved. They may be correct. So the first thing we're going to do is this coil. So it's just not tight enough in that. So this is the problem we've got. It's always kind of just between. Don't remember the red one fitting. Don't remember the yellow one fitting. Oh, it fits better than this blue one does, he says. So there we go, there's no change there. So we're going to turn the power up with the power preset. Make sure we're at maximum. It's difficult to get anything into this. I'm going to turn the set off and then use a conventional screwdriver right, that's maximum now. Turn the set back on. Now I want to back it off to make sure that we're in optimum position. I might be able to do it because you can move the outer wheel. On the other hand, it's immediate effect, so that's fine. If I remember rightly, that's receive. I'm just going to try not to get the manual out, seeing as we've done one recently. So that's now centralised. That's now centralised. I don't understand why I can't get the tool in there. I wonder if it's broken. No, it's not. So we'll whisk away from 2 watts there. Now, I'm not going to touch those if it's balanced. So whisk away from 2 watts on channel 20. 1.8. Yeah, we will go for those because it's still unbalanced. Back to channel 20. What we now need to do is to get rid of the paint, because they're not going to shift. Ah, they have been adjusted before. Yeah, both of them. Let's try the other set. I may have to use this with through a piece of plastic or something to kind of make it fatter. You know, by the time you've done this job and been in television business, etc., etc., for 40 years, you would think that you've got every trimmer capacitor that it was possible to need, but I know these are an oddball. I really need to trap something to kind of plump this up a bit. Need a bit of thin sleeving, to be honest. Let's pull some sleeving off this bit of wire. There we go. You see what I've done there. That's been able to centralise that properly. So I'm going to pull that out with the sleeve and do the same in that one. And then we'll go back to the first one. Now let's look at the other channels. So channel 40, 2 watts, channel 1, 2.2 watts, let's put that to 2 point a bit, 40, one, 20, 2.4 watts. So that's what we're reading, so don't think that that's all it is. Well, I've never thought of doing that with the yellow tool and the adhesive sleeving before. I'm going to drip a bit of wax in these before we say goodbye to this set, just to make sure they don't shift in transit. Because once that paint seal's gone, they are going to be able to shift around. Right, so that's what we've got. Okay, 2.4. Channel 42.4. Channel 1. 2.5. So that's pretty close. Low power is now what? It's now 140 milliwatts. So I'm glad that's come up. And our transmit power consumption in high power is now 667 milliamps. So we've got more power for less current. Just means it was a bit off tune. We've done deviation. There's nothing more in the transmitter. Now we've covered the Realistic 1001 probably 8 times, and in the back catalogue, if you've got one where you need to set the VCO, we've got all that done. But we don't need to on this one, so we don't need to charge him for that, so you know, keep the cost down. Right, let's go over to just see where we are on 27. I won't put that into who's been on a bit longer. So let's have a look at receive. I'll put my soldering iron on because there's that potential dry joint I pointed out just there. It's not gone at the moment, but it's just potentially dodgy. Okay, on receive, we'll start with the detector. Let's put some volume on and go to the oscilloscope. I think that's the detector. It is. Okay. And now we'll go to the synod meter. Don't touch that while it's done with the spectrum analyzer on transmit. That's the second harmonic track. And then we've got that one up there. I don't think we've got any change to that. I didn't see any, but let's have a look what it says now. So for 12 dB, we've now got 1.1235. So we have altered it. That's why you can't do it by ear, because you're never going to 1.4 that. Even I wouldn't have noticed the difference as somebody who goes around tuning pipe organs. That's not changed. 20. Let's see what that is. It's now 5. See whether the squelch has changed. Set threshold. It's exactly the same. So that's going to be the same without me proving it, because it's non-adjustable. So frequency counter, so that's absolutely fine. It's like 8 hertz down, it really doesn't matter. So that's it, there's nothing to it. I'm going to do that dry joint potential. The best range I've had on one of these is 14 miles on its own aerial, and that was actually indoors but upstairs in a building on a hill. So the other ones I can see look fine. And from cold it's doing about 2.5 watts. So it will be more than that, it will be better received. I say it's all down to the way the aerial is, and you just couldn't go to the expense of disconnecting all that, taking the shield plate off the back, disconnecting the wiring to the aerial, so you've got to just have a compromise, but rest assured they work very well, and to my mind they're the best handheld that's really ever been around. Now, you know, we've got new ones like this President in front of me, but these aren't the range that the realistics are, because they're limited by the aerial. Yes, you could buy accessory aerials, but I go on how it's been presented, and this is presented with a telescopic aerial. So we didn't have to unsole the speaker. So this is just a retune and test. And that's at the bottom of our tariff ladder. So that's a nice working radio. And it actually works better than his other one, which worked very well. It needed some work. But this one's had its strap nicked off it. So I started looking at our shed amongst scrap stuff. We won't have a realistic 1001. We may have a scrap American set if they've got this kind of arrangement. So I just don't know. Put those wrong screws in the bottom. I can't really offer them anything any better, I don't think. I can, you know, because that has come off. We had to open up an American set for spares. So that's actually the right screw. Danger is that if you put this down, oh, here's another right screw. So I took both out of the scrap set, so he's now got the right screws. So you can see they're now flush with the case bottom. So when it sits on those plastic kind of built-in feet, it's not going to scratch a surface. Whereas the normal screws, which I took out, they're going to scratch a surface when it's put down. So that's glad I was able to fix that for him. So really all we've done is brought the power up on this. Okay, so let's now put it on the aerial. Take that off.
Brackets and poles, so it's these. Yeah, brackets and poles, and mass. So when you press that, poles and mass, go to that, and just keep scrolling. You'll come across it. Just keep scrolling. It's quite far down. Yeah, it's quite far down. You go there. Right, it's right at the bottom. It's right at the bottom.
One on a Roger. Okay, well that worked great. I even heard somebody talking. Right, we'll do a scratchy to corner test on that later on. So very quick little service on that, and although it's obviously had some use, it's working nicely. Thanks for watching.